On the rainy afternoon of November 24, 1971, an unassuming man in a dark suit walked up to the Northwest Orient Airlines counter in Portland. He paid cash for a one-way ticket to Seattle under the name Dan Cooper. Shortly after Flight 305 took off, he passed a note to a stewardess claiming he had a bomb. To prove it, he opened his briefcase, revealing a battery and red cylindrical sticks wired together. He demanded $200,000 in $20 bills and 4 parachutes. When the Boeing 727 landed in Seattle, authorities delivered the ransom, and Cooper calmly released all 36 passengers unharmed. He then ordered the remaining flight crew back into the air, directing them south toward Mexico. Somewhere over the dense, remote forests of the Pacific Northwest, he lowered the rear staircase, stepped out into the freezing, pitch-black sky, and vanished. The hijacking triggered NORJAC, the Northwest Hijacking Investigation. It became the longest and most exhaustive manhunt in FBI history, spanning 45 years and scrutinizing over 700 suspects without producing a single arrest. With the man himself gone, the investigation centers on the specific properties of the 3 physical artifacts he left behind. The first artifact is the execution of the crime itself. Cooper didn't pick the Boeing 727 by accident. He knew it had a specific mechanical vulnerability, an aft air store located under the tail that lacked any locking mechanism to prevent it from being deployed in midair. This data visualization details the exact flight metrics Cooper demanded. By forcing the crew to maintain an altitude under 10,000 feet, wing flaps at 15 degrees, and a speed below 200 knots, he kept the cabin unpressurized and ensured he wouldn't be sucked out into the engines when he opened the door. To prevent copycats from exploiting this same vulnerability, the aviation industry had to urgently engineer a mechanical safeguard, resulting in a device known as the Cooper vane. The Cooper vane is a simple, spring-loaded paddle installed on the exterior of the aircraft. During takeoff, the force of the passing air pushes the paddle parallel to the fuselage, moving a metal plate underneath the stairway and physically locking the door from the outside until the plane lands. These technical requirements suggest a background in aerospace engineering rather than a desperate, impulsive act. The second piece of evidence was left sitting right on his seat, a cheap, black JCPenney clip-on tie. Decades later, advanced forensic techniques allowed scientists to extract microscopic particles embedded deep within the tie's fabric. Among these were rare fragments of unalloyed titanium. In 1971, titanium was not commonly used in everyday manufacturing. This discovery immediately narrowed the FBI's profile, pointing directly toward an individual working in a highly specialized metallurgical or aerospace fabrication facility. This trace evidence perfectly aligned with top suspects like Vince Peterson and William J. Smith, both of whom had professional backgrounds in specialized metalwork environments that handled these rare materials. But biological reality simply ruled them out. Multiple flight attendants had closely interacted with Cooper, and they consistently testified that he had dark brown eyes. Neither Peterson nor Smith matched that description. The clip-on tie served as a constant contradiction, providing a forensic profile of Cooper's daily life, while simultaneously leading investigators toward suspects who could not have committed the crime. The final artifact surfaced 9 years later, in February 1980. An 8-year-old boy digging a fire pit on Tenna Bar, a sandy beach along the Columbia River, unearthed $5,800 of the ransom cash. The FBI matched the serial numbers on the heavily weathered $20 bills. Crucially, they noted that the rubber band securing the stacks were still intact, indicating the bundles had been deposited together rather than washing ashore individually. This timeline charts the forensic contradiction of the cash. Microscopic analysis of the bills revealed the presence of diatoms, a type of microalgae that exclusively bloom in the Columbia River during the spring and summer months. Cooper jumped in late November. If the cash had landed in the river during the hijacking, it would have been exposed to winter organisms. The lack of winter diatoms indicates the money did not enter the water during the season of the jump. This leaves investigators with 2 highly debated survival theories. Either Cooper died in the woods and his money washed downstream months later during the spring thaw, or he survived, and either he or an accomplice deliberately buried the cash to throw off the feds. In July 2016, the FBI officially closed the NORJAC investigation, leaving the mystery unsolved. A wave of copycat parajackers attempted similar heists in the months following Flight 305, but every single one of them was captured. That perfect evasion elevated Dan Cooper from a wanted fugitive to a mythical folk hero. But the aviation industry could not afford to romanticize the crime. Beyond the mechanical Cooper vein, regulators immediately mandated the installation of peepholes in all commercial cockpit doors, allowing pilots to monitor the cabin securely. Flight 305 effectively terminated the practice of boarding a commercial flight with uninspected luggage. By 1973, federal law required every passenger to pass through a metal detector and submit their bags for X-ray screening. While D.B. Cooper's true identity dissolved into the Pacific Northwest woods, his actions resulted in a permanent overhaul of the global aviation security apparatus we navigate today.